Hey guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today I got a new review on the Vantrue T3 dash camera. Now I have reviewed several Vantrue dash cameras in the past. I believe they were the N2, the N2 Pro, and the N4, which was a 3-channel dash camera. The N2 models are 2-channel cameras where it's one single unit, but this side has a rear-facing camera, and that's targeted towards people that want to record inside of their car, such as Uber and Lyft drivers. But again, this one's only a single channel camera. While it is only a single channel, it does have 1520p. They call that Super HD. It's sort of a weird resolution compared to standard TV resolutions such as 1080p or Quad HD is 1440p. I believe the 1520p is basically a 4 megapixel resolution, which typically video doesn't use that, but that is what it can go up to. For full disclosure, Vantrue did reach out to me and send this for review, so I'd like to thank them for sending this review unit out. So this camera is very similar to the N2 models and the N4 models. It's got the same form factor with this cylinder-like design, front camera there. It's got the memory card slot, power cord, which is going to be USB-C, which I do really like that they are using USB-C. We do have a mini or micro HD video out there, and reset switch. On the back there's just a screen because the buttons are along the top, so the menu's pretty easy to use. Now unfortunately this camera does not have Wi-Fi, so any of the settings and if you want to view any files, you do have to use the screen with the buttons. Now in the N2 models, this is where the rear camera would be. On this you can see it's just a emergency record button, so while it's recording this will flash a blink blue. It's an LED, and then if you press that, that will lock the current file so it doesn't get written over if you want to save an important file. You can see there it says T3 on the back. It's got the microphone along the bottom, and just like the other Vantrue models I reviewed, it does have this pretty cool suction cup mount. Now normally I don't like suction cup mounts, but there is a market for them, for people that want to be able to remove them or switch them between cars easily. What's cool though is you can plug the power cord into the top, and then you place it on, and then when you want to remove the camera you just unclip it from here. As you can see, there's some pogo pins, so that's how it gets power. Alright, so it is a little hard to get off, so you are going to be moving this while you're taking it off, but it's still nice that you don't have to take the suction cup mount off. Now one issue I did have with the hardware is this is actually the second one I got from them, because the first one, the internals were shifted over to the right, and when I put the memory card in, it just slipped right in and went into the abyss basically. So here's the other unit. You can hear that's the memory card inside. Now what I ended up doing is I took a little metal SIM card and pried it over, and I was able to force it over, but even now it's that memory card slot's a little slightly to the right, so if I am not careful, the memory card will slip right in again. You really have to like put it in at an angle that way, and you can see actually how that HD out is off to the side too. So they sent me another one, and this one was definitely better, but unfortunately it still was slightly off. So if you're not careful, like right there, that's not going into the memory card port. You have to be careful to make sure it's going into the port and not going above it, because you could easily just slip it in. I never had that issue with the previous Vantrue cameras, so I'm not sure if it's just this camera, but you know, I still think the camera's decent quality. Other than that seems to be a quality control issue. I hope they figure that out, because here you can see the HD out still is slightly off to the right a bit. But I didn't have to pry this one over with a metal SIM card like I did the previous one. So that's definitely a concerning issue, but if you do choose to go with this camera, just be aware of that and make sure yours isn't defective like my first one was. So the camera does come with a standard 12 volt power adapter that plugs into your 12 volt socket in your car. It does have a USB port so you can charge a cell phone if you're using this, and this lights up when it gets power. That's pretty standard. But what's pretty cool is it does come with this OBD power cord. If you're not aware that the OBD 2 port is typically under your driver's side dashboard, it's often used for diagnosing car troubles. So what's cool about these is you don't take up your 12 volt socket in case you want to use that for something else. And this also will allow you to use the parking mode. Now the parking mode isn't super advanced, but we'll talk about that a little later in the video. Overall, the video quality on this camera is pretty good. Some might think it's not the best out there. The day quality looks pretty decent and the night quality is acceptable also. Since there's no second or third camera like the N2 and N4 models, it is able to run a higher resolution at higher frame rate than the front channel camera on those other cameras would be able to run. Unfortunately, this video is likely just going to be 1080p on YouTube, so there is going to be a degradation in quality from both the resolution and compression of the video. So it might not be fully reflective of the raw footage. So now when it comes to the parking mode is a nice feature to have, but it's not buffered like a lot of the advanced Korean dash cameras or Viofo's parking mode 2.0. What buffered means is when it detects motion or an impact, it'll actually trigger the previous 5 or 10 seconds to save and then continue to record for some certain amount of time depending on the camera or what mode you're using. So the issue with this parking mode is when it senses motion, it doesn't start recording until a moment after. One neat feature about this camera though is they claim that it uses radar detection, so it's not actually using the camera to detect motion. It sounds very similar to how Thinkware has a radar option for the U1000 parking mode, but the way they operate is a little different. The radar on the Thinkware parking mode will detect motion in front of the radar, and if it detects motion it'll start buffering video, but it won't save it unless it senses an impact. With this camera, it'll start recording as soon as it detects motion at a certain distance in front of the camera. You can set that to close, medium, or far in the menu options, but either way, I found that when using the parking mode, it did start recording moments after it detects motion. So here you can see I walked in front of my car and it didn't start recording until I was just leaving the frame. I think this will be more useful if you back into parking spots, and that way if someone in a parking lot backs into you, it should capture it because there'll be plenty of time where they're getting into their car that should trip the motion detection on that radar. So guys, overall I think this camera is an okay camera. It's not a bad camera. The price seems to be the biggest issue for me. The MSRP, at least originally, was $170, but I looked at Walmart.com and they were still selling it for $170. Now I have seen it on other sites for $140, and currently as of now it says it's not available on Amazon. When I searched on Amazon, it doesn't even show up in the search results for some reason, but when I searched on Google it did. I'll provide a link down in the description to the Amazon link in case it comes back on their website. But I'm not sure how much it is on Amazon. It just says currently unavailable. Like other recent dash cameras from Vantrue, this does use a supercapacitor, so that's nice because some of their older ones did not have a supercapacitor. If you're not aware of what that is or what that means, a lot of cheaper dash cameras use batteries, but those batteries typically aren't made to run the camera for long periods of time. Supercapacitors are nicer for dash cameras because they can withstand the hot and cold temperatures that a car may experience from really hot summer temperatures or really cold winter temperatures. But even at $140, I feel like at that price I would expect Wi-Fi built in with a smartphone app, so that's disappointing. I would like to see a camera at this price range that's only single channel have Wi-Fi built in. But Vantrue is a very well-known company. They do offer an 18-month warranty period, and I do believe they are a trustworthy company. If this is a camera you're looking at, I wouldn't say don't get it, but I would just tell you to be cautious with it when you get it. Make sure you didn't have the issue I had with the memory card slot being off, and just be aware of what these features include. There's no Wi-Fi smartphone app, and the parking mode's not going to be as advanced as something from Viofo or Blackview and Thinkware. So guys, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, I'd appreciate if you hit like and subscribe. And as usual, drive safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.